Aaron Rodgers has not made a single phone call yet. No contract, no answer, no announcement. Just a 42-year-old quarterback sitting somewhere overseas deciding the fate of two NFL franchises. And while he takes his time, Vegas has already written one of those teams off completely. That is the team you need to know about right now. Let us talk about what Vegas is actually saying for Super Bowl 61, because what you have probably heard is wrong. The San Francisco 49ers and Kansas City Chiefs are not the top two teams on the board, not even close. The team at the top of the odds board right now is the Los Angeles Rams at plus 750. That means a $100 bet pays out $750 if they win. Right behind them is the defending champion Seahawks at plus 800 to plus 950, depending on the book. Those are the only two teams with single-digit odds in the entire NFL. Then you have the Buffalo Bills and Baltimore Ravens tied at 10 to 1. Kansas City is fifth at 14 to 1. The 49ers are tied with the Green Bay Packers at 15 to 1. The Chargers are at 16 to 1. So the narrative that Kansas City and San Francisco are the teams to beat? That is already outdated. The league has moved on. But here is where it gets interesting, because one team on that odds board should not be as low as they are. And before I tell you which team that is, you need to understand why the Chiefs are not the team they were. Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL and his LCL in Week 15 of the 2025 season against the Los Angeles Chargers. That is two major ligaments in the same knee, in the same game. Kansas City is listed at 14 to 1 right now, but that number assumes Mahomes is healthy and ready for Week 1 of 2026. Nobody actually knows if that is true yet, and it is not just Mahomes. Travis Kelce, the greatest tight end in Chiefs history, finished the 2025 season without a contract extension in place. He has 1,080 catches, 13,002 receiving yards, and 82 receiving touchdowns as a Chief. He is third all-time among tight ends in catches, third all-time in yards, fifth all-time in touchdowns, and right now he is an unsigned free agent. Kansas City will try to bring him back, but there is no guarantee. So when you see Kansas City at 14 to 1, you are betting on a quarterback coming back from two torn ligaments and a tight end who has not signed a deal. That 14 to 1 looks a lot less attractive now. Now, let us get back to the team I mentioned, the dark horse, the one Vegas is sleeping on. The Pittsburgh Steelers finished the 2025 season with a 10-7 record. They won the AFC North, which was their first division title since 2020. They did it with a 42-year-old quarterback most people had already written off. Aaron Rodgers completed 65.7% of his passes, threw for 3,322 yards, and finished with a 24-7 touchdown to interception ratio. That is not a backup-level performance. That is a quarterback playing well enough to win a playoff game. They did not win one. Pittsburgh lost 30-6 to the Houston Texans in the wild card round. That loss stings. But look at the full picture. A team with Aaron Rodgers, a top-tier defense, and a new head coach in Mike McCarthy just won their division for the first time in 5 years. You do not write that off. Now here is where the story gets complicated, and this is the part that changes everything about whether Pittsburgh is actually a dark horse or just a good story. Aaron Rodgers has not signed with anyone. He is 42 years old, and as of right now, he has not told a single team whether he is coming back to play in 2026. Not Pittsburgh, not anyone. The Steelers got tired of waiting. They placed a UFA tender on Rodgers, which is a rarely used contract move that locks in his salary at about $15.5 million for 2026. It also means that if he signs with another team before July 22nd, Pittsburgh gets draft pick compensation. And if he does not sign with anyone else by July 22nd, the Steelers own exclusive rights to him. That is the deadline. July 22nd. Everything hangs on that date. Steelers owner Art Rooney II went on NFL Network and said this, and it is worth paying attention to. He expected the situation to be resolved before the draft. All 7 rounds came and went. Rodgers said nothing. That forced Pittsburgh to use this tender just to protect themselves. Tom Pelissero from NFL Network broke down exactly what the tender means, and this is important. It is not a right of first refusal. Rodgers can still walk. Any team can sign him to a higher deal through July 22nd. Pittsburgh would then have 5 days to match it. If no one offers more, Rodgers either signs with Pittsburgh or he retires. But here is what nobody is really talking about. There are credible reports that Aaron Rodgers might not want to go back to Pittsburgh at all. The Arizona Cardinals have two people on their coaching staff that Rodgers has a deep personal connection with. Their offensive coordinator is Nathaniel Hackett. Rodgers played some of the best football of his career when Hackett was calling plays with him in Green Bay. Their head coach is Mike LaFleur, whose brother Matt LaFleur coached Rodgers for 4 straight years in Green Bay, including the seasons where Rodgers won back-to-back MVP awards. Arizona also has Trey McBride at tight end. McBride was a first-team All-Pro in 2025, and they have Jeremiah Love, a first-round running back from the 2025 draft who is already drawing serious attention. That is a better offensive weapons room than what Rodgers had in Pittsburgh. Now remember what I said at the start. Vegas got the Seahawks wrong at 60-1. Arizona is sitting at the very bottom of the odds board. If Rodgers walks into that building with Hackett calling plays and two guys named LaFleur in his corner, things could change fast. But here is the thing. If Rodgers goes to Arizona, Pittsburgh is a completely different story. And that brings us back to the real question. Is Pittsburgh the dark horse, or is the dark horse whoever actually gets Rodgers? Let us say Rodgers does come back to the Steelers. He played last year under Mike Tomlin, who then resigned. Pittsburgh replaced Tomlin with Mike McCarthy. This matters more than people realize. Rodgers and McCarthy coached together in Green Bay for years. They went to the playoffs 8 straight seasons. They know each other's systems inside and out. Art Rooney II pointed out that Rodgers does not even need the early installation periods of the new offense because he already knows McCarthy's system so well. That is a real advantage that teams rarely have. The Steelers also drafted Penn State quarterback Drew Aller in the 3rd round of the 2026 draft with the 76th overall pick. They also have Will Howard, a second-year player, and Mason Rudolph. All 3 of those guys are the future of the position in Pittsburgh. Rodgers would come in as the starter in 2026 with Aller sitting and learning behind him. That is a team building the right way. And here's the thing people forget about Pittsburgh. Their defense does not need a superstar quarterback to win games. It needs an average to above-average quarterback. Rodgers at 42, throwing 24 touchdowns with 7 interceptions, is above average. That is good enough, and everything you just heard about the Steelers being a dark horse depends on one thing: what Aaron Rodgers decides to do with the next few weeks of his life. Art Rooney said it himself. He thought this would be done before the draft. It was not. He now says he expects an answer in May. Rodgers is reportedly in another country right now, doing whatever Rodgers does in the offseason. His camp has been in contact with Pittsburgh. The signals inside the organization point toward him coming back. But signals are not signatures. If Rodgers retires, Pittsburgh runs an open competition between Will Howard and Drew Aller, and they drop out of the dark horse conversation immediately. If Rodgers signs with Arizona, the Cardinals become the story, and Pittsburgh rebuilds. If Rodgers comes back to Pittsburgh, you have a team with a proven quarterback, an elite defense, a head coach who already has a championship-level relationship with that quarterback, and a chip on their shoulder after a 30-6 playoff beatdown. That last version of Pittsburgh, that is a dark horse. That is the team Vegas is not taking seriously enough. Remember where we started. The Seattle Seahawks went into the 2025 season at 60-1 odds and won the Super Bowl. The last team to do that was the 2001 Patriots, also at 60-1. 2 teams in NFL history have won a championship at those odds or worse. The Seahawks just proved it can happen again. The dark horse for Super Bowl 61 is not a mystery. It is sitting right in front of us, waiting on a 42-year-old quarterback to make a phone call. The only question is, which city does that call go to?